Hi students, today we will discuss about tuberculosis. Okay, what is tuberculosis means? It is an infection caused by the bacteria. Which bacteria is causing tuberculosis? We already know that the bacteria which causes TB is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So, it is a contagious infection caused by the bacteria belonging to the Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. Okay. If you see this Mycobacterium tuberculosis is having the greatest virulence. So, it is considered as the most fatal infection among all the types of TB. And what are the other common species involved in this is Mycobacterium bovis and Mycobacterium africanum. Other than the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, these are the two species present. Okay, if we see the transmission of this disease means, it is this infection is usually acquired by air from patient to from infected patient to the healthy person by inhalation of the droplets, those droplets which contains the causative organs, means the organism which causing the TB, organisms from the infected person. It is when it is inhaled by the healthy person, it occurs the infection. So as these droplets are very small, means it is less than 5 micrometer in diameter. So due to this lesser in size, it can pass through the respiratory defenses, and hence infection typically occurs several months after the exposure of the organism. And here if we see, the risk of development of disease is fully depends upon the overall bacterial load or individual susceptibility, immunity, malnutrition, alcohol consumption, and any other associated infections related to this. Means based on the person's immunity system or whatever the other diseases he or she is having, or how bacterial load it is acquired. Based on this condition, the development of the disease is present. Okay, if infection is reported immediately after exposure, it is known as primary infection, and this duration may be reduced up to 2 months in case of the immunosuppressor condition, means that is nothing but corticosteroid therapy. And if we see, normally natural immune response is in which our antigen specific T cells activates the macrophages to engulf and kill the organisms. What happens in the, we'll see once again, what happens in the natural immunity system means, we are having antigens that is specific to the T cells. These T cells activates the macrophages to engulf and kill the bacteria. So about nearly 90% of all tubercular infections heals without without being noticed, and sometimes bacteria may remain dormant inside the macrophage for many years, and later it may reactivate to cause a secondary tuberculosis, means without causing any symptoms or showing any clinical features of a primary infection. It causes the, means it reactivate to cause a secondary tuberculosis. In some cases, the person may not develop the infection throughout his life, but they continue to have the viable organisms for years together. If in case of active tuberculosis, it usually begins in the lungs, which we'll call that as a pulmonary tuberculosis, and then it spread to the other parts, which we call that as a extrapulmonary tuberculosis, means spreading of the infection to the other surrounding parts. We'll call that as extra pulmonary TB. This spread may be by local spreading, means through macrophage carrying bacilli, or it may be through lymphatic route or hematogenous route, or by any other natural passages, means that is nothing but a swallowing of the infected sputum. So due to this way of spreading, it can lead to the extrapulmonary TB. This is about the how infection is transmitted from one person to the another person. If we see the predisposing conditions of TB means HIV infections, lymphoma, leukemia, chronic renal failure and hemodialysis, diabetes mellitus and chronic use of corticosteroid therapy and or any other organ transplantation. These are the conditions which predisposes the tuberculosis. If you see signs and symptoms, generally signs and symptoms does not occur, means they doesn't show any symptoms in case of a person with TB, but if they are showing any symptoms, means if they are presenting any symptoms of TB, means those includes productive cough or weight loss, night sweats, fever, chills, and they can also experience some pain. Pain includes in area of the chest, fatigue, muscle cramps or nausea, loss of appetite, breathlessness, swollen lymph nodes. These are the general symptoms which they are showing in the TB. Usually they don't show any symptoms, but if at all in any other cases, it means in rare cases, if they show, these are the symptoms which they experience in the person with tuberculosis. If we see classification, TB is classified based on the appearance as well as the clinical manifestation after the exposure and location of the bacilli. It is classified into primary infection and secondary infection. There is nothing but a primary TB and secondary TB. If we see what happens in primary TB, means generally it occurs on first exposure to the tubercle bacilli, especially when droplets can avoid normal mucociliary defenses, and then it enters into the terminals of the alveoli of lungs. It directly means directly after inhalation of the droplets, it enters into the terminals of the alveoli, and then the infection begins with the multiplication of the bacilli. After entering into the alveoli, there it occurs a multiplication of the bacilli, and usually this in the upper lobe, particularly towards the apex. This occurs in the upper lobe, means that is based on the location. It is more often reported in the children and patients with immunocompromised. And this is about the primary infection. If we see the secondary infection, it is usually due to the reactivation of the dormant lesions or reinfection of the person who is already hypersensitive due to earlier exposure of the TB. And if we see based on the anatomical involvement, it is further classified into two types, that is pulmonary TB and extrapulmonary TB. The most common type involved is pulmonary TB, which indicates involvement of the lungs, especially pulmonary parenchyma. And what we call about the extrapulmonary means it is due to the spread of the infection, means it involves involvement of the other organs other than lungs, which usually lymph nodes or pleura, bones, genitourinary tract or meninges, etc. The pulmonary involvement may or may not be reported. This is about the extrapulmonary TB. If we see pathogenesis or pathophysiology, we can see the infection is transmitted via inhalation of the droplets from the infected person to the healthy person. What happens in the infected person means what happens immediately after inhalation of the droplet, means which contains bacilli. After inhalation, there is a transport of the bacilli to the terminal alveoli. After that, this organism is ingested by the macrophages, and further there is a multiplication occurs within that macrophages. Is it clear? After inhalation of the droplets, this bacilli enters into the terminal alveoli, and then it is ingested by the macrophages, where it occurs a multiplication. So after that, there is a transport of organisms to the regional lymph nodes by infected macrophages, which is nothing but we can also call that as extrapulmonary, because it is it is transferred to the other organisms also later. So there is a transport of the organisms to regional lymph nodes by the infected macrophages, and this can occurs with continued multiplication, and there we can see the minimal inflammatory response. After transporting to the regional lymph nodes, there is an extension of the organisms, which is nothing but within 4 to 6 weeks after inhalation, it enters into the bloodstream from the regional lymph nodes, and then there occurs a cell mediated immunity response and hypersensitivity response. Due to this response, there are two reactions, that is we can observe the development of clinical disease, or we can see the successful control of the infection. If we see the control of infection, there is a chance of reactivation or reinfection, that is nothing but a secondary infection. If primary infection is treated, there is a next chance of reoccurring of the disease, that is nothing but reactivation, and this reactivation further develop the clinical disease. So this is about the pathophysiology of the TB. If we go for clinical manifestations, they are usually of pulmonary and extrapulmonary type. What are the manifestations we are observing in the pulmonary means? There is a fever, productive cough, which occurs usually more than 3 months, and weight loss, loss of appetite, weakness, night sweats, bloody sputum, breathlessness, etc. If we see there is an increase in the production of sputum and night sweat, it is an indication of the progression of disease. Is it clear? If we are observing the increased production of the sputum and night sweat, it is an indication of progression of the disease. And what are the common manifestations occurred in the extrapulmonary means? Features including cystitis, pyelonephritis, and peritonitis, arthritis, and damage to the coronary arteries, that is nothing but, and pericarditis, meningitis. This is the extrapulmonary means. Here we already know that there is an involvement of the other organs other than the lungs, so we call that as a extrapulmonary. This is about the clinical manifestations. If you go for diagnosis, the diagnosis of TB is important both in individuals and to community, because present diagnosis is largely depends upon the clinical, radiological, cytological and bacteriological examinations. What are the clinical examination we are seeing means? First we have to evaluate the patient condition and their medical history, and we have to record any risk factors, that is nothing but alcoholism or any other infections, means any viral infections, that is nothing but HIV and renal dialysis, etc. Means a complete patient history. This can give the clear picture of our illness. And if we go for radiological examination, chest x-ray is the first assured step. In diseased cases, irregular white areas against the normal black background is seen in the x-ray. We can find out that in the x-ray. And nowadays specialized x-rays, ultrasound, CT scan or can be used for more accurate result. And if you go for a cytological examination, a tuberculin test is widely used for diagnosis, in which a small amount of protein is derived from the tuberculous bacteria and is injected between the layers of the skin, that is an intradermal injection. And after an induration of the 5 to 10 mm, we can see the swelling and redness within 48 to 72 hours. Means in that site of injection we can observe the swelling and redness. We have to mark that area. After 2 to 3 days, a control substance may be injected at another site, and if a patient shows false negative result and may be repeated after several weeks, this is known as PPD, that is nothing but purified protein derivative or Montauk's skin test. So injecting this we'll call this as a tuberculin test. And if we go for the bacterial examination, we can see the examination of the sputum for bacilli is most reliable method of diagnosis. And here what happens is the sample is collected either by simple either by coughing or spitting, or with the help of bronchoscope, and by its staining and microscopic examination we can determine the bacterial. And if you see the presence of typical mycolic acids in the cell walls, that results in the retention of the lipophilic dyes, that is nothing but staining, and that can differentiate from the other bacteria. Here the preparation of mycobacterium culture of the sputum rather than smear, it drastically reduces the false negative results. And we can see here the isolation and identification of the mycobacterium tuberculosis is from the systematically cultured sputum sample leads to the definitive diagnosis of the TB. This is not used in the pulmonary extrapulmonary form of TB, because where the sputum is not available in that case, because in extrapulmonary TB it involves organs like organs other than lungs, so where we cannot find any sputum. So for the diagnosis of the extrapulmonary site TB, the test like examining the samples of CSF or biopsy study, laparoscopic examinations, urine examinations are carried out. This is about the complete diagnosis of the TB. If we go for the treatment of the TB, here a complete cure of TB is based on the early and correct diagnosis followed by administration of the combination therapy. This combination therapy is involved for the specific duration of time, and this combination therapy is usually recommended. Why we are recommending combination therapy means it contains more effectiveness in shorter time period with a reduction in the emergence and resistance. So, and the selection and the drug regimen is completely based upon the factors like patient complaints or adverse effects, effectiveness of the therapy, and resistance developed. Based on these conditions, drug selection will be there. If we see here, this is the standard treatment for TB based on the time period also. If you observe here, the new sputum smear, that is involved positive pulmonary TB and negative pulmonary TB. In these two cases we are using here we can see the abbreviations. H means isoniazid, pyrazinamide, streptomycin, thioacetazone, ethambutol and rifampicin. By seeing these abbreviations you can clearly analyze this. This is the initial phase treatment and this is the continuous phase treatment. Okay, in case of sputum smear positive, and if it is the restart of the therapy, then we have to use these medications. And I think clearly you can see this tabular column for the treatment of the pulmonary disease. And if you see this, effective treatment with multi-drug therapy is a modern approach for the control of the disease. And why we are using continuous phase means it is recommended to remove the persistent bacilli to prevent the relapse, and it generally required therapy lasting for 4 to 6 months period of time. And what we are seeing in initial phase means what happens in the initial phase means the rapid killing of bacilli to make the patient non-infectious, this which occurs in the about 2 weeks in the major objective. So first it includes 4 drugs for the first 6 to 8 weeks period of time. After that in continuous phase we can give for 2 to 3 drugs as a combination therapy. This is about the standard treatment. If treatment is entirely based upon the prevention and management of the infection. That's all.